We're very honored to have Conan here and to have given Conan a certificate and an award that we're going to put up in the White House. Conan is a tough cookie, and nobody's going to mess with Conan.
Oh, that was a great moment, right? Such a great moment. That's the dog that killed the world's most wanted terrorist, al-Baghdadi. And President Trump invited the dog to the White House. Good stuff. Good stuff if you're like a normal person. But apparently if you're a CNN contributor, it's terrifying. Literally terrifying. One CNN personality tweets, quote, "This is terrifying." Trump tells you how incredible this particular dog is, jokes about sicking it on journalists. You heard the joke. I mean, she really thought he was sicking it on her, that the dog was somehow coming after her? Come on. Come on. If we can't so much as take a little breather to have a nice moment to celebrate a dog who killed the most wanted terrorist in the world, then what exactly is going on? Joining me right now, Republican Texas Congressman Louie Gohmert. He's also a member of the House Judiciary Committee, so we can get to impeachment in just a second. But Congressman, my goodness. I mean, these people, they're looking for something anywhere they can possibly find it, even a nice dog.
Yeah, a nice dog. I mean, that's probably yours and my both our thoughts immediately. Wow, what an incredible dog. How heroic, how brilliant, how smart, how great his training must have been, and that's apparently the CNN commentator thought it was a he, but Conan is a she. But, you know, all the stories you've had on, Trish, they all have that Trump derangement syndrome as the thread that runs through all of them. They just can't get over the fact that Donald Trump is president, and one of the classiest persons I've ever met is just being torn down, and it goes back to this hatred, this derangement that people have over Donald Trump. It's incredible. It keeps them from being as intelligent as they might otherwise have been able to be.
You know, I'm a big believer in the First Amendment, freedom of speech, freedom of the press, but you know, there comes a time when decorum matters, right? Respect matters. Yeah. And when you go out there and you boo the First Lady, like those kids in Baltimore did tonight, when you do that, you know, it reflects badly on us, I think, as a country. It shows that we don't value the office of the presidency.
Exactly.
I mean, you may have your differences with her husband. I think it's kind of hard to really pick your differences with her. I mean, she's just there to talk about making sure these kids stay away from drugs and opioids, and gosh darn it, they ought to welcome that kind of influence in the community anywhere, because kids don't need that stuff. But instead to treat her like that, Representative, what does this tell you about where we are right now as a society? We're coming up on 2020, and they hate him and anybody associated with him.
It's a little bit scary. I mean, when I was in college, very conservative, at a very conservative university, Texas A&M, and we enjoyed inviting liberals. We loved the back and forth, and now it's just such a vile hatred for anybody that disagrees with liberals. So it's a dangerous time, and it's a dangerous place, and I think that's why we're having the impeachment hearings we are when there's nothing there. And to add on to your prior story, too, on that, you're talking about Abigail Grace and Sean Misko. They may have been involved in the effort with the whistleblower who isn't really a whistleblower. And in fact, I think when we get to the bottom of it, what we're probably going to see is that the non-whistleblower went to them scared to death because he had just heard about the call to Ukraine, to Zelensky, and wanting to get to the bottom of corruption. And let's say,
ran with it?
You know, gee, he goes straight to these people he had worked with, that had worked with him and Biden, and goes, gosh, what's going to happen? I mean, if they really get to the bottom of it, here we are. And it was probably Schiff's staff that came up with the idea, hey, how about we get you qualified as a whistleblower? But they knew he wasn't because he had no direct evidence, so the IG had to change the rules so you could be a whistleblower without having direct evidence. And so we had the
back
backdated
up.
rule.
Do you
So
think,
all of,
okay, no. Congressman, what you just said is kind of important. So you think that possibly the rule was deliberately changed just for this guy to come forward, this whistleblower?
Absolutely. I don't think there was any, it was changed and then backdated. We've seen that in the press, but
just for this guy?
Maybe the IG didn't, the IG may not have known that he was doing it to help this person, but whoever talked him into changing it and backdating it, they sure knew they needed a rule change. But the part of the rule they couldn't change was that you have to be complaining about someone within your agency department, and the president is not in his department or agency. So in the end, if he ends up being prosecuted, normally whistleblowers can claim whistleblowing status to protect them against prosecution.
Well, you know what? I've talked to real whistleblowers
but in his case,
on this
he's
show.
not a real whistle.
Well, I was going to say, the guy who blew the lid on the CIA torture program, he wound up in jail for nearly 3 years, right? I mean, so whistleblowers don't usually get the red carpet treatment like this one's getting, just to be clear on this. But going back to these two people in Schiff's office, or one of them anyway, that may have known the whistleblower. Two of them, it seems, may have worked at the Atlantic Council, which was getting funding from Burisma, the Ukrainian energy company that Joe Biden's son worked for. It starts to get really convoluted and really murky and really sketchy, Congressman, sketchy.
Sure, and they'd all three worked at the NSC. They were friends with McMaster's, Brennan. They were tight little cabal there, and that continues. Wow.
Well, what are you looking forward to on the Judiciary Committee hearings, if anything?
Well, I would love to subpoena Abigail Grace and Sean Misko. Let's get to the bottom of what really happened here. And since we know that Chairman Schiff is a big fan of trying to subpoena staff and thinks it's perfectly okay, then maybe that's the way we need to go. Let's get his staff in before the impeachment hearings, now that they're going to shift to Judiciary next week. I would love to hear from both of them and their conversations with the whistleblower. And let's see what really brought all this about.
Yeah, so put it all out there.
I'd like to see him
Let everybody know.
Yeah.
Congressman Louie Gohmert,
exactly.
thank you so much. Hey, happy early Thanksgiving.